For all of human history, we have been at the mercy of the weather. Floods, droughts, hurricanes, forces of nature that could build empires or wipe them from the face of the earth. We learned to predict it, to endure it, but never to control it. The idea of commanding the clouds, of taming the storms, was the stuff of gods and myths. Until now. This is geoengineering, the deliberate, large-scale intervention in the Earth's climate system. Not just seeding a cloud to make it rain, but dimming the sun to cool the entire planet, spraying microscopic reflective particles into the atmosphere to create a planetary shield. It's a technology born of desperation, a last-ditch effort to combat climate change. But it's also a technology so powerful, it could become the most effective weapon ever created. What if a nation could create a drought in an enemy's territory, or steer a hurricane towards their coastline? While the public debates carbon taxes, a silent race is underway between the world's superpowers to master the climate. This isn't a conspiracy theory about chemtrails. This is a documented scientific reality being explored in secret government programs and by rogue billionaires. We are on the verge of seizing the reins of the planet, but are we ready for the consequences? This is the terrifying truth about the race to control the weather. The dream of weather control is not new. It began with a simple, almost magical discovery in the 1940s. In 1946, scientists at General Electric discovered that dropping pellets of dry ice into a supercooled cloud could trigger snowfall. It was the birth of cloud seeding. For decades, this technology has been used around the world, from ski resorts trying to get more snow, to China using it to clear the skies for the 2008 Olympics. It's proven, but its effects are local and temporary. But the military saw a different potential. During the Vietnam War, the U.S. Air Force ran a top-secret program called Project Popeye. From 1967 to 1972, they flew thousands of cloud seeding missions over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, aiming to increase monsoon rainfall, wash out roads, and disrupt enemy supply lines. When the project was declassified, it caused an international scandal, leading to the 1977 NMOD Treaty, a UN convention banning the use of weather modification as a weapon of war. A treaty that many experts now fear is obsolete. The real paradigm shift came with the growing threat of climate change. Scientists realized that local weather modification wasn't enough. To cool the entire planet, you needed to address the source, the sun. This led to the most ambitious and terrifying form of geoengineering, solar radiation management, or SRM. The leading theory is stratospheric aerosol injection. The idea is to mimic the cooling effect of a large volcanic eruption. By flying a fleet of high-altitude aircraft and spraying microscopic particles like sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, we could create a planetary shield reflecting 1 or 2% of sunlight back into space and potentially lowering the Earth's temperature within a couple of years. In theory, it's fast, effective, and shockingly cheap. This sounds like science fiction, but the experiments are already beginning, funded by governments and powerful private interests who believe the risks of climate change outweigh the risks of intervention. For years, government agencies like NOAA in the United States have conducted atmospheric research that lays the groundwork for geoengineering. Academic projects, like Harvard's controversial SCOPEX experiment, plan to release a tiny amount of particles from a high-altitude balloon to study the effects before it was stalled by public and ethical concerns. Meanwhile, powerful billionaires like Bill Gates have poured millions into research, believing it's a necessary plan B for humanity. But controlling the climate isn't like adjusting a thermostat. It's more like performing brain surgery with a sledgehammer. The Earth's climate is a chaotically complex system, and our models are imperfect. The biggest fear is the unknown unknowns, the unforeseen side effects. Computer simulations predict catastrophic consequences. Dimming the sun could disrupt global rainfall patterns, potentially shutting down the Asian monsoon, which provides water for billions of people, leading to famine on unprecedented scale. It could turn our blue skies into a permanent, hazy white, and the sulfur aerosols could damage the ozone layer, exposing us to harmful UV radiation. We might solve one problem, only to create a dozen worse ones. Beyond the environmental risks lies a more immediate threat: weaponization. The 1977 NMOD treaty is toothless. It bans hostile use, but what does that mean in a world where the lines between research, climate mitigation, and strategic advantage are blurring? Climate change doesn't affect all nations equally. For Russia, a melting Arctic opens up new shipping lanes and access to vast oil and gas reserves. For a low-lying island nation, it's an existential threat. This creates a dangerous incentive. A country suffering from catastrophic heat waves might decide to unilaterally deploy geoengineering to save itself, even if it causes a drought in a neighboring country. What starts as a desperate act of self-preservation could be interpreted as an act of war. This creates the potential for a new kind of geopolitical blackmail. Imagine a single nation, or even a corporation, controlling the world's thermostat. They could demand political concessions or resources from other countries under the threat of altering their climate. It would be the ultimate tool of global domination, making nuclear weapons look crude in comparison. And perhaps the most terrifying scenario is the termination shock. Once you start stratospheric aerosol injection, you can't just stop. The system masks the warming from the CO2 that's still accumulating in the atmosphere. If you were to suddenly stop the program due to a war, economic collapse, or a political decision, the masked warming would return with a vengeance. Global temperatures could spike multiple degrees in a single decade, a rate of change so fast that ecosystems and human civilization would have no time to adapt. It would be an extinction-level event. Once we start, we may be trapped, forced to maintain our artificial shield forever. The technology to control the weather is no longer a fantasy. It is a terrifying and seductive reality waiting in the wings. It offers a simple, powerful solution to our most complex problem, but at a risk that is almost unimaginable. We are like children who have found their parents' loaded gun. We are fascinated by the power it represents, but we have no comprehension of the devastation it could unleash. The debate is polarized between those who see it as our only hope and those who see it as a shortcut to Armageddon. The fundamental question is one of control, not just control of the weather, but control of ourselves. Do we trust any single nation, corporation, or even a global body like the UN with the power to alter the planet for everyone? Are we wise enough to wield the power of a god? This is not a future problem. The decisions are being made now, in quiet labs and closed-door meetings. Should humanity take this ultimate gamble? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And for more deep dives into the technologies that will define our future, subscribe to Stories to Share.